The room smelled like polished wood and expectation. 6 Miami Beach condos, spoken like trophies, listed like proof of loyalty. My uncle stood near the front table as if he already owned the future. The lawyer adjusted his glasses, scanning the papers with mechanical neutrality. Relatives filled the chairs, whispering approval before the words were even final. When the lawyer read aloud that all 6 properties went to his son, my uncle straightened. "She gets nothing." He said it loudly, not to inform, but to finalize a narrative. Applause followed. I felt the reaction ripple across the room before it reached me. They looked at me briefly, some with pity, some with satisfaction, some with quiet curiosity about how I would respond. I did not move. I had expected this moment. Months ago, when my uncle had invited me to review family assets under the pretense of transparency, I had already sensed the direction. He believed control meant silence from others. He underestimated paperwork. The lawyer prepared to continue reading, ready to close the ceremony. I shifted my gaze toward him. "You really don't know, do you?" My voice did not rise. It did not accuse. It only interrupted. The room turned slightly. Attention pulled from my uncle to me. His smile tightened. "Know what?" He snapped. He assumed I was bluffing. A last emotional appeal. I didn't look at him. I reached into the folder I had brought, documents carefully organized, stamped, and signed long before today. Copies of filings, amendments, a notarized addendum. Evidence that the ownership structure of those 6 condos had never been fully transferred into the estate as he imagined. More importantly, proof that the controlling trust had been revised quietly after legal consultation, binding assets to a clause triggered by misrepresentation. The lawyer's eyes scanned the first page. His expression shifted, not dramatically, but enough. He flipped faster. Silence entered the room. My uncle noticed the change in the lawyer's posture before he understood it. "What is this?" my uncle demanded. The lawyer did not answer immediately. He continued reading. His fingers traced the paragraphs. His breathing slowed. "This document," the lawyer finally said, "was executed 2 years ago. It modifies asset control under specific conditions." Conditions. My uncle repeated. The lawyer turned the page. "Condition triggered by unilateral reallocation without beneficiary consent." That sentence landed heavier than any shouted insult. Relatives stopped whispering. Some leaned forward. Others sat back as if the chair had suddenly shifted. My uncle laughed, a sharp, forced sound. "Impossible. I never signed anything like that." "You did?" I said quietly. He stared at me. I remembered that afternoon, him asking me to sign routine confirmations, slipping in papers mixed with harmless updates. I had insisted on independent legal review before signing. During that review, my attorney found language buried inside revisions that expanded power beyond intended distribution. Instead of fighting directly then, I chose strategy. The trust was corrected. Quietly. Legally. The revision removed the assumption that control rested entirely with him. The lawyer raised his head now. "According to this amendment, any asset transferred without compliance with documented fiduciary obligations reverts to equal distribution among named beneficiaries." He paused. "In this case, that includes her." The room inhaled at once. My uncle's confidence fractured in real time. "Reverts," he said. "Yes," the lawyer replied. "The 6 properties cannot be assigned solely to your son under the current legal structure." The authority in the room had shifted. Not through argument, not through emotional confrontation, through documentation. The lawyer continued examining additional clauses, valuation adjustments, frozen transfers, audit rights. Each paragraph reinforced the same reality: the power to dictate distribution had limits. My uncle's son, who had been smiling moments earlier, now looked confused, then angry, then silent. Someone whispered that the situation must be resolved later. Someone else suggested mediation. But the control that had appeared absolute now dissolved into procedural review. My uncle turned toward me slowly. His face was not screaming anymore. It was processing loss. "You planned this?" he said. "Yes. Not revenge. Preparation." He searched my expression for triumph, maybe for cruelty. Expecting humiliation, he found neither. I felt no desire to publicly expose him further. The legal document had already spoken. Authority had intervened visibly. The lawyer cleared his throat. "We cannot finalize the transfer today. Further legal verification is required." He closed the folder. That action ended the ceremony. The applause from earlier felt distant now, almost embarrassing in hindsight. People began standing, unsure whether to comfort my uncle or reposition themselves around the new uncertainty. He remained standing where he had declared ownership. The room that had celebrated his certainty now avoided his eyes. He looked at me again. "What happens now?" he asked, quieter this time. "Now," I replied, "we follow the trust." Not a threat, a fact. The consequences would unfold through lawyers' audits and recalculations, not drama. The 6 condos were no longer symbolically his victory. They were subject to shared control under the amended structure. Power had not shifted to chaos. It had shifted to balance. I walked toward the exit before emotions could drag the moment into a personal argument. Behind me, voices rose, discussions about legality, liability, and strategy. No one was cheering anymore. I did not celebrate. I had simply protected what was legally preserved. The leverage was never loud. It had always been written quietly and activated at the right time. 2. Should I adjust tone or create a follow-up continuation where consequences unfold further?